Well, the governor has inserted himself into the LSU coaching search.
It didn't just get your attention, it raised your dander.
It's just absurd. It is absurd. All right, so now we're going to have a committee, the governor says. A committee that will hire the coach. And that reminded me of the former longtime football coach who passed away, sadly, a short time ago. Mike Leach was once asked about committees. I just had to play this because it's so funny.
Because why not? Because, we're American. We love committees. Let's get us a committee. Well, who should be on the committee? Well, I don't know. This guy's a good guy. Let's have him on the committee. Well, there's people on the committee that don't even have remote associations with football, nor have they at any level other than being a fan. But you know what? Let's have them on a committee. Why not? And then, it'd be fun. We'd go to that resort. We could talk. We could hang out at dinner.
Oh, my gosh.
He's spot on.
Yeah, he is.
Having served on a few committees in my time. That's exactly how that sometimes works.
From church committees to other kinds of committees, political committees, all kinds of committees. All right, let's go to the phones. Good morning. You're on Talkback.
Hey, good morning. Thank you for taking my call. When I heard him making those comments yesterday, it sounded like Cassidy trying to use Trump to kiss up to people to make up for, previous boo-boos. It's like he knows that the people are angry at his stance for the lawyers, and now he's trying to use the popularity of LSU football, the hatred of lawyers, because he said, the lawyer did this, they need to spot, and trying to hold on to Trump's leg. He's hugging Trump's leg. Like, see, Trump likes me. I like Trump. But, don't punish me for what I did with the lawyer, with the insurance stuff. It was sad. It was a sad display of, there's no dignity in that. That's what it looked like to me. It looked like he was begging for, to give him a new image, not Jeff Landry, the puppet of the lawyers, to keep them in, to keep the situation that they have worked so hard to create in force. But now, he wants to be he wants to get the popularity from Trump, and he looked just like Cassidy to me. That's my opinion. Anyways, I hope they find somebody. It's a great place to be, and it's one of the things that our state has pride in, little old Louisiana, and look, we punch up with the big boys. But anyways, that's how I saw it. Thanks for letting me speak my piece.
Yeah, absolutely. And on that note, okay, so as our previous caller had said, probably Woodward at this point just steps down and says, heck with this, I can find a job elsewhere. But now where do you go with it? Who would want to come and be athletic director at LSU knowing that your governor of your state will not just stick his hand in the cookie jar, but grabs the entire jar? Who wants to become the head coach here next, seeing that kind of situation? This could set the program back years if he doesn't back off of this. He really needs to come out and say, well, I may have overstated it. Woodward, that's his job. He needs to do his job. I just think this is potentially for LSU sports, not just football. For LSU sports, I think this is an absurd thing. And I am floored. But that's just kind of like him saying, well, we want to build a Charlie Kirk statue at LSU. He's putting himself, what he thinks, into these popular things, but it only makes him look more silly. He just does. Do what the people want you to do in this state. Lower the insurance, get crime under control, give us good roads and bridges. It's not that hard. But politics complicates it at the state level with getting things done that you should be doing, and now we do this? I mean, come on. It's just absolutely insane, my opinion. All right, let's go to another call. Good morning, you're on Talkback.
Hi, good morning. I think when you played the Mike Leach audio clip there, sadly, it describes so much of our lives. The thing that bothers me the most, speaking of education, which LSU, a lot of people think it falls under state, but it's under the education department of the state. But that describes our school board. Let's create a committee, a school board, that makes the decisions for the most important part of our children's lives. And none of them are required to have any education whatsoever. Me having no degree, I could go run for the school board. And if you elect me, I can have a say, a massive say, in how your children are educated, when they go to school, when they're not on school, what holidays they get. I can even have a say in which superintendent is hired next. But I have no qualifications. But if you vote for me, good for you.
Mm-hmm.
And I've never understood that. Like, committees can be very good. It's good that we don't have, if you don't have some form of group, then you really do have a king or a dictator or, whatever people are saying. You really do have that kind of situation, but they have to be qualified. And, like in the school board situation or many different situations that we have in politics, there's no qualifications at all. If I want to be a doctor, I have to go to school. I have to go to school for 8, 10, 12 years, depending on the practice, to be able to be qualified to have surgery, to do surgery on you. But if I want to run a nation, if I want to run a school system, if I want to do these things that can affect millions of people and millions of dollars, I don't have to have jack squat. And I just think that's interesting. So have a good day.
Yeah, it's an interesting comparison that you're making there. And I think, Nathan, we've seen in a lot of circles where, and sometimes committees can do good work. I'm not saying every committee is a terrible idea. Sometimes they actually can be very effective if they're done properly and right. It's just my point being that most of the times, especially with something like this, it's going to end up being a committee of people that are powerful and influential and have probably made large donations in certain circles.
Well, I had a comment before you made that last sentence, but I may have to delete my comment. My comment was, I've sometimes been that guy on that committee that shouldn't have been there, but I'm not powerful and I haven't made large donations. There have been a few times in my life because I have a profile that people ask me to serve on things. And in the last 2 or 3 years, I've really become selective about, I used to have the whole mindset, unless God says no, go. But now I'm trying to change that into unless God says go, no. I'm trying to be more selective. But I have served just because pastor, politics, community, scene around, that I get invited to serve. And I sit there thinking, why am I at this table? I really don't have any expertise or knowledge about this. And I think people are looking for folks to serve who have a heart on some levels, and then on other levels, people who have a pocketbook. So.
Right. Yeah, I'm surprised the phones aren't lit up over this. Maybe people agree with him.
Well, I mean, you've already had several calls which, you combine sports and politics. That's definitely a combustion chamber right there. I did want to give some context to the Jeff Landry call for the Charlie Kirk statue.
Mm-hmm.
He was actually speaking at Turning Point USA's event at LSUA that day when he made the call. LSU, sorry, thank you. Dr. Carell's got me so ingrained over here. A's going to be on the end of everything about LSU. But they had an event, I think it was about October 27th, 28th, a couple of days ago. And they had Allie Stucker, I think is her name.
Allie Beth Stuckey.
Yeah, so she was the main speaker. And she is a phenomenal speaker. She handles herself so well. But he spoke beforehand. And I went back and listened to his, and there were pieces in there that were certainly pandering. But then there were some other things in there that I thought were healthy and good. But he made the call for I just want to give context. It wasn't just out of the blue. It was actually at that event.
Right.
Interestingly, did you see that Loyola has turned down a Turning Point chapter?
I did see that, yeah.
And oddly, they say it's the administration of the school is saying that this isn't our decision, that the Student Government Association is the one. It's a peer-to-peer process, and the students are the one who decide whether to let another organization come or not. So apparently, whichever students are in charge of that process voted down the Turning Point USA chapter to be recognized officially there on Loyola. So I find that to be disturbing at a Catholic university, university of faith. So.
Oh, yeah. Yep. whole other topic.
Yeah, I'm
sure we
sorry, I
could
didn't
get
mean to-
on, but all right, we need to take a break, though. We'll get to that and other stories right after this.
KSYL.
Central Louisiana has what it takes. Strong workforce, perfect location, and a legacy of getting things done. That's why Beaver Lake Renewable Energy is producing clean fuel in Pineville, investing $2.5 billion, bringing 1,100 construction jobs, 600 permanent jobs, and millions in local tax revenue. Made here, powered by us. Visit BeaverLakeEnergy.com and see how we're putting Central Louisiana back on the map.
Let's go! You're still glowing, flirting, grooving. You still got it. But your immune system weakens as you age, making it harder to fight flu, pneumococcal pneumonia, RSV, and COVID-19. Vaccines are a key part of any health routine and help strengthen your immune response. Ask your doctor or pharmacist which vaccines you need. Schedule in minutes at VaxAssist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Hey, I'm Mike Slater. My dad passed away at the age of 63. It's out of nowhere. Had a stroke. Super hard, obviously, for the whole family, but my dad had life insurance. This is why I have life insurance for my family, for my wife and 4 kids. And the best place to get life insurance is ethos.com because you can do it in 10 minutes. And there's no medical exam and no blood test, just a few health questions. Get life insurance in 10 minutes so your family is protected. Ethos, E-T-H-O-S, ethos.com/Mike.
970 AM, 104.9 FM, KSYO. Now back to Talk Back.
All right, we are back with you here on a Thursday Talkback. Al Quartermont, Nathan Martin, 318-442-8255 is our phone number on the BOM Bank Talk line. One of our listeners shared with me some information. Not completely sure where he got this, but it basically outlines what the governor's role is in terms of post-secondary education in the state. The Louisiana governor influences post-secondary education funding through the budget process, veto power, and appointments to state education boards. The governor proposes the state budget, which includes funding levels for higher education, and can sign bills related to funding or veto legislation that affects it. Additionally, the governor appoints members to the Board of Regents and other boards, which are responsible for developing the state's funding formula for public institutions. The listener notes there was no mention of hiring or firing of athletic personnel in that summary. I'd say he's way out of line. I agree, and that's my point, because I think this, by making this so political now, I think it potentially does much more damage in the long run. I've seen, just looking at some of the comments on Twitter or whatnot, people are like, well, anyone who was a candidate or thinking of coming to LSU probably doesn't want to come here anymore. That's the danger of this. That is the danger of this.
I saw another story yesterday that said that Florida has now become the most attractive position over LSU because the governor of Florida has pretty much taken the hands off. He's made a couple of comments, but nothing near like Governor Landry has.
Yeah, and you can make comments, sure, but to take it to that level by saying we're not letting the currently hired athletic director make the hire for the next football coach. I've never seen anything like that.
What did you think, though, about his comment that Woodward's agent is the same agent for many other coaches that they've hired and players? Is there anything nefarious or questionable about that, or is that just there's only so many agents out there?
I don't know that that's true.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, I saw one person on Twitter said that Jimbo Fisher and Kelly have different agents, but it rings hollow with me because you're condemning lawyers on one hand for their involvement in this, but we just went through the legislative session this last spring that did not achieve the level of auto insurance reform that the state needs because of the undue influence of lawyers. But it's his lawyers. It's the donors that he favors. And that's where it rings hollow with me. It just reeks of political opportunism that people who maybe don't pay attention are like, yeah, go get them. But if you're paying attention, you're like, really? Come on.
The Texas turkey hunt will not be soon forgotten.
It shouldn't be. It's absolutely outrageous. All right. To the phones we go. Good morning. You're on Talkback.
Well, any future football coaches get a contract like those last ones,
they're not going to have any problems getting applications.
Right. Yeah. I mean, they will, but will they get the best of the best?
No, I mean, I'll apply.
Of course. Of course. But that's not what LSU fans want. They want the very best because they feel like their program is the best in the country in terms of an opportunity, in terms of the talent in the state. And that translates to LSU needs to be in the top 10 every year. They need to be competing for a national championship every year, and nothing less will be acceptable. And that's just, to me, is that realistic? But I mean, they're not the only ones.
Well,
Florida's that way, Georgia's that way, Alabama's that way. Only one team's going to win it every year.
That's right.
And the reality of what college football has become in recent years is that it is big money. It's all about big money.
And there's expectations when you say we're going to be in the championship game in January. And then you lose 3 games. You know, the way you've lost, especially the way you lost, folded. You can say.
I'm not saying that Coach Kelly did not deserve to be fired, because realistically, his teams have not performed at the level that they should.
It's interesting now that he's gone. Stories are coming out about his lack of humanity and lack of connection.
Yes.
Yes. So, you know, some players who, you know, are kind of giving inside peeks into his management style. Apparently, it was not as good a fit as we thought it could be. Yesterday at the Rapides Area Planning Commission, Mayor David Butler made the announcement, though, that he was resigning as mayor because he was going to be the next football coach at LSU. He was only going to coach for 3 months and then take a buyout and go back to Woodward. That's the kind of joking that's happened, though. around,
I know.
You know, it's become that type of, like the caller just says, if you can get a $50 million buyout. Now, I do think it is important to state supposedly that the buyout's funded privately. That is. I've had some jokes that would you like some fries with your canes to go, because that's supposedly who's probably paying for it. You know,
probably.
But at the same time, you know, you made a comment. No, you didn't make. Somebody else made the comment about how you know the state has come up with a surplus to fund the SNAP benefits.
I did, yeah.
Okay, it was you.
Yeah.
I was listening on the way in. And it's interesting how we can be in such dire straits, but
I know
when we really need the money, somehow look.
For political expediency.
Hey, we found this we were putting our coat in the dry cleaners.
I know. Am I the only one saying, wait, where did this come from?
I think you are right now.
Yeah.
But you know, now Governor Landry, his statement is through fiscally sound practices, we were able to put this aside. Then you're wondering, well, why wasn't that used for some road projects or to make some changes in the insurance, you know, into the...
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, or to return money to the taxpayer. Oh, you're going to get...
wait a minute.
Now you're going to get me going about
money back?
The whole food stamps issue.
Mm.
The danger of the food stamps issue is, and I don't want to get into it too much right now, we can talk about this more later, people are starting to look at it closer now, and they're seeing who's actually on it. And so it may be something that Democrats regret in the long run. I mean, now I don't know if anything will be actually done about it, but the level of abuse of taxpayer-funded food stamps is staggering. It's breathtaking.
Well, and when you're hearing now 1 in 8 Americans, so 12.5%,
the number of illegals that are on it.
That's pretty
The number of people that really aren't from this country that are on it.
And the discretionary income they have, because they're able to spend more money on non-essentials than you and I, who are paying the taxes, and we're in the line.
You're the typical blue-collar worker, this strikes you in the gut.
It does, because you're buying best choice, you know, generic brand stuff, and then the SNAP benefit person's got all the high ends. It does sit not well with you when you see the abuses.
Absolutely.
I'm not saying people don't need help, and we are an incredibly generous country, incredibly generous. But when you see the abuses, it strikes. It's a gut punch.
No doubt. All right. Well, we need to take another break. We'll come back with more.
Talkback is sponsored by The Clinics.
This is Dr. Jonathan Hunter. At The Clinics, your health is our priority. Whether it's a routine checkup or ongoing care, we are here for you. Dr. Noah Miller, our newest family medicine physician, along with 5 other dedicated family physicians, are now accepting new patients. Schedule your appointment today. And remember, if you're ever admitted to the hospital, our doctors will see you there too. Most insurance and Medicare are accepted. The Clinics, 1587 North Bolton, 445-9823, online at theclinics.us.
You too could have a beautiful smile in as little as 12 weeks. Exclusive to Today's Dental in Pineville, Virtual Align Clear Aligners. The fastest, most convenient, affordable way to straighten your teeth for people on the go. Plus, they're invisible. No one will know you're doing it. Experience the Virtual Align difference. Call Today's Dental at 448-4540. It's a general dental facility on Highway 28 East in Pineville, owned by Dr. Jonas Goche. 448-4540.
Reuters Institute reports social media has become the main source of news for more than half of people in the U.S., surpassing TV channels and news websites. Before the story hits the group chat, it hits Simma Update. Follow Simma Broadcasting on Facebook, your community, your update.
A message from Israel Air Conditioning and Heating.
Yeah, my mama, she told me to pick up and call Israel Air.
She told me Israel Air. She told me.
She said they'll come running with comfort beyond compare.
A very fair price.
Because you know we're all about your comfort, no troubles. Call 442-6657. That's 442-6657. We're all about your comfort.
970 AM, 104.9 FM, KSYO. To take part in the show, call 442-8255. That's 442-TALK back.
All right, we're back here on this Thursday. Al Quartermont, Nathan Martin with you. 318-442-8255, our number on the BOM Bank talk line. Nathan in for Stephen today, who is on assignment, as I said. He's actually he's been being a judge today. He's judging.
Yep, he is. Thou shalt not judge. That's what he says. But he's judging today over at, is it Ball Elementary?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, so look, when he told me he was doing that, I'm like, good luck, man, because that is an incredibly difficult. I just was I shouldn't say it, but I just participated in the selection process, judging process of a student of the week at a local high school, and it was gut wrenching because the kids were so good. I struggled to come up with my top three of the more than half dozen that were there, and like any one of those, and it could have been an incredible choice. Like, well, can we have three winners? And like, no, you got to have one. So how do you? And so he's going to have I'd love to hear him. I look forward to hearing him tomorrow talk about the process.
Yeah, we'll look forward to catching up and seeing what he has to say about that. All right, well.
Now where do you go?
I don't know. I'm still just flabbergasted about what took place yesterday. And where does LSU go from here with their athletic program? Meanwhile, they're still trying to get the next president of the school.
Oh, yeah. Dr. Carell was in here on Tuesday, and he's actually on that selection process.
Okay.
Ask him,
is he on a committee?
He is. He's on the committee. But, he's qualified. Yeah. He is qualified.
Yes.
He's actually the only chancellor on the committee, which means he may be the most qualified. I don't know who else is on that committee. But he said they hope to have a selection announcement really soon. I asked him, was he going to be the next president? He said, absolutely not. I breathed a sigh of relief because, he has been such a breath of fresh air for the Central Louisiana educational community.
No doubt about it. So apparently the three candidates that they're down to for LSU president would be the current McNeese University president, Wade Rouse, James Dalton, who is a provost at the University of Alabama, interesting, and Robert Robbins, a former president at the University of Arizona. The interim LSU president, Matt Lee, was not selected for that.
And also the a gentleman from Tulane School of Medicine,
Vice President of Research for Tulane, Giovanni Piedamonte. I think that's how you say it, I guess. But, yeah.
So they're going to have a round of interviews or panels with faculty, students, and staff. And all three of them will appear before these forums on Thursday, Friday, and Monday. And then the LSU Board of Supervisors plans to choose the next president on Tuesday, November 4th. So they will have that selection process announced after I'm on next Tuesday.
Okay.
We'll talk about it Wednesday.
Yes, sir. All right. We'll take this break because we have the top of the hour news coming up from CBS. Then we'll be back with you for a full hour of talk coming up on the other side. So stay with us.
You've been listening to Talkback. The opinions expressed were those of the hosts and callers, and not necessarily those of Cenlaw Broadcasting. AM 970, FM 104.9, KSYL, and KRRV 100.3, HD3, Alexandria.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by Progressive Insurance.
I'm Deborah Rodriguez. Wheels up for Air Force One in Alaska. The president's plane has just refueled and left for Washington, returning him from his trip to Asia, where he pronounced his meeting with China's leader a success.
Roadblock is gone now. There's no roadblock at all on rare earth.
Correspondent Ed O'Keefe.
In their first face-to-face meeting since 2019, President Trump and Chinese President Xi Jinping greeted each other warmly as they met for much-anticipated trade talks.
It's a great honor to be with a friend of mine.
After imposing retaliatory tariffs for the last 6 months, Trump now says they have a deal that could be signed pretty soon.
We have a deal. Now, every year we'll renegotiate the deal, but I think the deal will go on for a long time.
French officials say a total of 7 suspects have now been arrested in the crown jewel heist at the Louvre Museum. Correspondent Holly Williams has more from Paris.
Is the mastermind still at large? We do not exclude the possibility of a larger group, the prosecutor told us, with the person who ordered the heist and who's the receiver of the stolen jewels.
The gems are still missing. 2 days after a monstrous Hurricane Melissa tore through, Jamaicans are reliving the nightmare, among them Catherine Hall in Montego Bay.
It was terrifying for me and my child. The water level reached me to my waist. I was stuck in my house. They had to break into my home to save me.
Melissa is now a Cat 2 storm headed for the Bahamas. A first in the music industry, the Universal Group is teaming up with an AI song generator.
Universal, Sony Music, and Warner Records sued the AI platforms Udio and Suno last year over copyright infringement. Those platforms allow you to create songs simply by typing in a few prompts.
And then click remix.
Wow. The record labels accused Udio and Suno of exploiting the recorded works of artists without compensating them. Now, not only has Universal reached a settlement with Udio, but the two have agreed on a licensing deal and will team up to create new music.
That's CBS's Michael Wallace. King Charles has cut off his brother's royal allowance, taken away his titles, and told him to find a new place to live over his friendship with Jeffrey Epstein. CBS's Vicky Barker's in London.
Prince Andrew is being investigated by a parliamentary finance committee probing
whether he is still a suitable tenant of Windsor Lodge.
Committee Chairman Jeffrey Clifton Brown. That lodge is the 30-room mansion on the grounds of Windsor Castle where Andrew lives with his ex-wife, Sarah Ferguson. He's resisted pressure from King Charles to move out.
Dow futures are down 169. S&P futures off 23. This is CBS News.
Sponsored by Progressive Insurance. Take the next step forward in your career with great benefits and an award-winning workplace. Apply at careers.progressive.com.
Every time I turn around, my friends at Pure Talk give me one more reason to feel good about switching. This month, for instance, they're supporting Canines for Warriors, a terrific organization that trains rescue dogs and then pairs them up with combat veterans struggling with PTSD. The result? They're saving lives on both ends of the leash. This is why I switched to Pure Talk. I like being in business with an American wireless company who shares my values. Yeah, I appreciate unlimited talk, text, and plenty of 5G data for just $25 a month, and I bet you will too. But I think you'll really appreciate doing business with a company who gives back to the men and women who volunteered to defend our country. Just dial pound 250, say micro. With Pure Talk's U.S. customer service team, you can switch in as little as 10 minutes. Again, dial pound 250, say micro. to switch to an American wireless company who actually stands for something. Pure Talk.
Louisiana Radio Network, I'm Jean Burns. Despite the federal government shutdown, Louisiana's disabled, children, and elderly will continue to receive SNAP benefits in November, thanks to the state. Here's Jeff Palermo.
Understand that what we're doing is historic. It has never been done. We've never had to be placed in this situation.
Governor Landry says since the state has been fiscally responsible, it has the money available to provide the cash assistance for the SNAP recipients that are disabled, children, and the elderly. But Landry says 53,000 able-bodied adults who receive SNAP will not receive funds. Instead, the governor is encouraging them to find employment, as he says there are 100,000 available jobs.
So we want people to seek out those job opportunities, great paying jobs.
I'm Jeff Palermo.
New Orleans and Baton Rouge are both in the top 5 of the nation's most dangerous cities. According to the study of 182 cities by Wallet Hub, Baton Rouge came in at number 180, followed by Memphis. New Orleans ranked dead last with low marks in home and community safety. LRN.
Attention all real estate agents, property owners, and lenders. When you or a client needs a real estate attorney, call the professionals at Thompson Law Firm. Whether the legal matter is basic or complex, the Thompson Law Firm can accurately guide you or your client to a successful outcome. That's why numerous industry professionals have trusted the Thompson Law Firm for years. They also handle estate planning, successions, and business law. Call them at 473-0052. I am a paid non-client attorney spokesperson.
Good morning. Looks like a nice Thursday with mainly sunny skies today. Nowhere near as windy as it was yesterday. Afternoon highs only, though, near 66 degrees. And we'll see winds out of the northwest at only about 5 to 10. Tonight, clear skies. Some spots maybe even the upper 30s overnight tonight. Otherwise, around 40 for most folks. Tomorrow, sunny skies again, 69 for the afternoon high. From the Cenla Broadcasting Weather Center, I'm Nick Grayson.
Talkback is sponsored by The Clinics. With 18 providers and 3 locations, someone can see you today.
It's Talkback, Central Louisiana's longest-running talk show. Whether it's the guests or the callers, Talkback is where Central Louisiana begins its conversation.
Run, 2000 national champion head coach LSU here on Unsportsmanlike on ESPN Radio. Do you want to be the next LSU head coach?
Oh, I'd love to. You kidding me? I'm one phone call away. I just gotta get in my truck. I'll be back. I could be there today.
Would you be willing? And I'm being very specific on this. If someone specifically became the head coach, would you be willing to be his assistant? And that someone is someone you've been close with and worked with, Lane Kiffin. Would you ever go back to be an assistant at LSU?
Yeah, I consider it. I love LSU. I still got my home in Baton Rouge. I love when I coached with Coach Miles, being the defensive line coach. I love the Tigers, and I'm getting back to coaching for sure. I consider it, no doubt.
Interesting.
Go Tigers.
Yeah, go Tigers. Coach O on Unsportsmanlike Radio on ESPN yesterday, which you can always listen to on our 1410 ESPN as well. So just one more element we can add into this crazy little mix.
Well, there was a video I saw on Instagram or TikTok or something somebody sent to me. He was at a convenience store in Scott or Crowley or somewhere in South Louisiana, and he was wearing like a dingy, I don't know what they call those T-shirts that don't have sleeves. Colloquially, we call them wife beaters. That's not the best term for them, I'm sure. Yeah. But he was wearing, it looked like he had just come off of a fishing boat. His hair's messed up, and they were like, they were talking to him, and he was talking up, how much he loved LSU and how he'd be happy to go back. And that was like 2 or 3 days ago. And then, there's an interesting, I saw an article the other day that said they were looking back and they said the day that Brian Kelly was introduced as the coach in the Pete Maravich Center, and he used the word family, and he said it almost like he was trying to use a Cajun accent, and it went flat. And they said, looking back now, we should have known then that he was not going to adapt to our culture. He was not going to really embrace us. And, so I don't know if that was it or not. Yeah. The man's he's got the best record as an active coach in NCAA, doesn't he? I mean, so he's successful, but sometimes chemistry just doesn't work. Yeah, and I know that on that same show, he also said that
the LSU, whoever the new coach is, needs to be somebody who's willing to embrace the state, which he feels Kelly just never really did. So, yeah, I get that. Yeah, it's interesting to see the names that are being popped around a little bit. Lane Kiffin seems to be a choice people really want. I don't see that one happening. I think there is a better chance he goes to Florida than comes to LSU if he's going to leave Ole Miss. But I have the feeling Ole Miss will pony up and keep him there.
Yeah, especially with the successes they're having.
Yeah, exactly. And, the Nick Saban thing, I don't know that could or would happen. I think the only way Saban comes is if they threw a ton of money at him. Now, on the plus side, with Saban, his wife she loved living in Baton Rouge. He talked about that all the time after he left. But, even Saban, if you go back and really remember things from the mid-2000s, after they won the national championship, they had a couple of so-so seasons, and there were rumblings about him.
Sure.
And he jetted for the NFL. So I don't know. I mean, I'll tell you, when he came back to go to Alabama, I was like, oh, LSU's cooked. Just because I knew he would start recruiting players from Louisiana, and he did.
But the cyclical nature of such a high-level sport, it's going to be next to impossible to create a dynasty again.
It is.
With NIL and the way they can change teams and all that, keep their eligibility.
Well, that was one of the things with LSU for coming into this year, was they had, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, the top-ranked transfer portal class. So that's what gave a lot more optimism to the season as well. It just, at the end of the day, Kelly was not the right fit. And sometimes you don't know that until the person is actually there, no matter how good it might have looked on paper. And it's easy to sit back now and say, oh, that was a terrible hire. That was a terrible mistake. If we go back and look at the comments at the time, were they saying that? Maybe some were, so maybe some weren't. But there have been people that have said this is a terrible hire that ended up being a great hire for other situations. It's just the reality of sports. But to kind of wrap what we've been talking about for a good portion of the show tomorrow, injecting a politician into it, you're not the next Huey P. Long. You're never going to be that. Stop being that. Be the governor that people elected you to be. They voted for you because they thought you would be tough on crime, that you would work to reform insurance in the state, and that you would get spending under control. Not weighing in on culture wars and other things. My humble opinion. All right.
Yeah.
So,
well, chemistry is important when it comes to leadership. Years ago, I read a book by Bill Hybels called Axioms on Leadership. And I to this day, I remember he talked about the 3 C's of hiring, which others have used. He's not the originator, I don't think, but he's where I read it from. And he talked about the 3 C's are competence, character, and chemistry. And he said of those 3, in his mind, character is number 1, because you can't train character or teach character. You either have it or you don't. And he said competence is actually number 3, because competence can be learned. Chemistry is that special ingredient in the middle. If you have character and competence, but you don't have chemistry, it's going to be a horrible relationship. So I've always, now you don't want to learn chemistry as the head coach. You don't want to learn competence as the head coach of LSU. You better bring competence with you.
Right.
But that chemistry element is important. So we may joke about the Mason-Dixon South-North, thing, but you got to understand the chemistry of the area you're going to and somehow adopt it, embrace it. Don't fake it.
Yeah. Wait, didn't Hybels resign from his church?
He did.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I thought so.
Thanks a lot for just blow my story out of the water. But he still wrote a good book. Just because somebody later, walks away doesn't mean that the content at the time wasn't great.
Right.
Thanks.
Sorry. I just wanted to clarify in my mind. Oh, gosh.
Oh, my goodness.
All right. In other news, did this kind of end with more of a whimper than a bang? I'm talking about the legislative session down in Baton Rouge, the special session that was called and started last week, whereby the legislature was looking to push back next year's closed primaries for the federal races for House and Senate, and they did. They ended the special session yesterday. They approved the plan. I honestly didn't even hear about it till this morning. I was going through some news items like, wait, they ended it?
Yeah.
How did I miss that?
I saw Representative Mike Johnson made a post about it being over, and I saw that last night. That's how I knew it was over, but I still haven't put my brain around like what the changes are. I know they did change the date, but also my big question was that does that also change the qualifying dates? Because the qualifying was in January, so does that move the qualifying back to February for those races?
I believe that was part of the bill, if I remember right. I'll have to go back and just double and triple check that. But that was my understanding going in. But, the next issue is going to be if the Supreme Court rules that the formation of the current 6th congressional district represented by Cleo Fields is in fact unconstitutional, then how do they redraw the maps again? That's going to be a whole other thing.
Yeah, and how quickly? I'm assuming they already have maps waiting in the
Probably so, yeah. They do. You would hope they do. So
you wouldn't go through all the trouble of a special section.
In the Advocate article, they quote Ed Larvadane, state rep from here in Alexandria, says he expects the legislature would convene for a special session this winter to quickly draw new maps with little public input once the court rules. He says, this is his quote, the legislature will intentionally create unfair maps. There will be no African-American representation in Congress. This is not right. It's not fair to the African-American population.
Wow.
So are they speculating that even the district that Troy Carter could be?
Well, here's the thing that is interesting, and I'm a slow thinker, so you're just now making my brain catch up. But could that have been a long game? That, if we get the Supreme Court to say you cannot use race in determining, that could have huge implications nationwide.
Right.
And, we've grown up hearing minority majority districts. We've always thought you had to have it.
Yeah.
Kind of reminds me of what Moon Griffon's been pointing out over this whole deal, where he says, everybody kept saying that a judge has required us to draw these maps. Judge has mandated. We have a court demand. We have a court edict. There was no ruling.
Yeah.
There never was, according to Moon. And so it's like, has this minority majority thing always just been in our head as we thought we had to do it? The Supreme Court's going to give an answer about that.
Right. Yeah, we'll definitely find out once the court makes its decision. I don't, and Steve and I have talked about this. How do you draw a congressional district? What should be the ultimate criteria? What's the best way to do it? And look, just because you have a district that is not, quote, majority minority, doesn't mean that a minority can't win that district. I mean,
well, look at Jay Luno.
Yeah,
he won as a white male in a majority minority district against a black Republican, Pastor Joshua Joydera.
Well, I think a lot of that was the black churches got behind it.
No, but that's the point. You're saying that putting a majority district does not guarantee a minority will be in. That's the case in point.
Well, I'm pretty sure the city of Pineville is majority white. Right?
That's true. And for over 20 years, Mayor Clarence Fields.
And you know why? Because people voted for him based on the content of his character.
Absolutely. 1,000%. Absolutely.
That should be really the only reason you vote for anybody at the end of the day.
No doubt about it.
But there are many that have the integrity that he has that are in the political realm, in my opinion. So there's that too. But in any case, we'll see what happens.
Great comment from one of our listeners. There are over 60 black members of Congress. 45 of them were elected in white majority districts.
Huh.
That speaks volumes for us as a people.
Absolutely. I mean, I have no doubt you still have people out there that are racist about certain things. But overall, I do think most Americans, and I really think the country was moving past so much of that until during the Obama years, it kind of got stirred back up again. And then the stuff that happened in 2020 just sort of accentuated that. But at the end of the day, I really think most Americans couldn't care less what your race is, what your gender is, What kind of person are you? What kind of plan do you have? What kind of job will you do? That's what they want to see.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I saw a video yesterday. John MacArthur, respected pastor, and he was on a panel with Ed Stetzer and a few others. I don't remember who all was there. They were talking about racism, and he, after a couple others had spoken, he just essentially said, "You cannot be a Christian and be a racist. You cannot. Being a racist is antithetical to everything Jesus taught, stood for." And then they were kind of off guard because he was so direct with his statement. And I like that. I think we need to have more of that.
Yeah, MacArthur in those situations when Larry King used to have his.
It was on Larry King. Okay. That's who it was.
Yeah, he always had the mic drop moment, and most of it is because he was so grounded in Scripture. That's really what it was. His authority came from not himself, but it came from the Word of God, and that's where it should come from if you're a believer in Christ. All right, we'll take a break. More coming up right after this.
Talkback is sponsored by The Clinics. With 18 providers and 3 locations, someone can see you today.
Central Louisiana has what it takes. Strong workforce, perfect location, and a legacy of getting things done. That's why Beaver Lake Renewable Energy is producing clean fuel in Pineville, investing $2.5 billion, bringing 1,100 construction jobs, 600 permanent jobs, and millions in local tax revenue. Made here, powered by us. Visit BeaverLakeEnergy.com and see how we're putting Central Louisiana back on the map.
The other day, I discussed how to determine your rights as an airline passenger if something like a long delay, canceled flight, or overbooking situation disrupts your travel plans. Here are a few very specific things about checked luggage you should know that might smooth out an otherwise difficult time. From America's #1 travel radio show, this is your RM World Travel Minute. I'm Rudy Maxa. Airlines rarely lose luggage, but sometimes your bag goes to the wrong place or simply takes an unusually long time to reach your luggage carousel. If you fly Delta, here's a tip. If your bag doesn't arrive at your luggage carousel within 20 minutes of your plane reaching its arrival gate, Delta will give you 2,500 frequent flyer miles. Just go to delta.com, search for 20-minute bag guarantee, and then fill in your flight information, including your ticket confirmation number. If your bag is temporarily lost, you're entitled to reasonable expenses for essential items. If it's never found, you can be compensated for up to $3,800. Start keeping a file of receipts for anything you buy that may likely be in your checked luggage. The airline will ask for proof of value. More travel info at rmworldtravel.com.
If it's happening in Cenla,
we will.
If you're 55 and up, come to the Halloween Trunk or Treat Thursday the 30th at Magnolia Baptist Church, presented by the Rapides Council on Aging. Stop by from 11 till 2 for free refreshments, fun, and info about senior services available to you.
Get ready for action as Louisiana Christian University presents Dorm Wars on Friday, November the 7th. Come to Wildcat Stadium at 1 for an Olympic-style competition between dorms. Who will be the champion?
If you love Billy Joel, Friday, November 14th is your night. Huckleberry Brewing Company presents the Billy Joel Tribute featuring NOLA's Rob Davis. The show starts at 7. Get the details on Facebook.
The Arts Council of Central Louisiana presents One Night of Queen, performed by Gary Mullen and the Works. Friday evening, November 21st at Coughlin Saunders Performing Arts Center. Get tickets at Eventbrite.com.
Make your plans now.
Cenla Broadcasting.
If you'd like to take part in the show today, call the BOM Bank Talk line at 442-8255. That's 442-TALK. And remember, if you're looking to purchase or refinance your home, call Christina Bagwell at the BOM Bank Mortgage Department at 448-2430.
Now back to Talk Back, 970 AM, 104.9 FM, KSYO.
And we are back. Al Quartermont along with Nathan Martin. Glad you could be with us here today on Talkback, 318-442-8255. All right, so we did mention this earlier that the state has decided that it is going to fund, for the time being, food stamps in light of what's going on with the national level with the government shutdown. Governor Landry yesterday at a news conference announced that they're going to be doing that. So any thoughts?
Well, and I'd love for people to call in and share their thoughts. My question is, we've already chatted a little bit about where, I'm glad they found the money, but I wonder, is the federal government going to reimburse them once they reopen the government? And is that why it's easy to do it? because supposedly all these folks that are furloughed are going to get paychecks for not, for the time that they were not paid. And so is this really more of we'll give you the money because we know that once the government reopens, we'll get our money back? I don't know the answer to that.
Right.
I don't mean that. I don't mean anything by it. I'm just wondering.
Yeah.
But would love to hear people's calls. Stephen did a little story on Jorge Rocha with his little chubbies where he's offering discounts to people who have SNAP benefit cards. And as a clarification, you cannot use your SNAP cards there. It's simply if you show up to purchase something and you show your card, you still have to pay for it with your own money. But so he's not accepting SNAP benefits for cooked food, but he's just trying to give them a discount.
Okay, got that. Yeah. I said earlier in the show, it's kind of brought the whole topic or discussion about food stamps more into the public light. I mean, I think it's been generally in America something that we realize people get, blah, blah, blah. Not much is ever said about it too much. But what I've been seeing, especially on Twitter the last few days or so, is people are reporting on how much waste, fraud, and abuse of that there is. And what's been interesting to me, I've seen many, many videos of this, are people from especially communities that tend to be a little more poor, if we want to say Black community, sure, that are saying that what they see are a lot of people get food stamps and then they sell them and then use that money for other things.
Yeah, they may sell them 50 cents on the dollar
or even less. Yeah. Which is just, I feel like the whole food stamps program needs to be looked at right now. We know that many, 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 many of these illegal aliens that came into the country were put on food stamps. If you have an anchor baby, you get put on food stamps. And it's just such a gut punch when I'm reading this to someone who, I'm like you, most of you out in the community, we're out here busting our butts. Some of us are working 2 or 3 jobs just to make ends meet. We see our health insurances get more unaffordable and cover less. We see our grocery prices keep going up and don't come down. In some cases, they have. But, and you've seen it, I've seen it, and I don't want envy to ever be my motivator. But you go to the grocery store and you have a budget and you can't go above that, and you made a point, you're buying, Best Choice or whatever products, and the person in front of you has a cart full of choice meats or whatever, and they flash out that blue card, and I'm just like, wow.
Mm-hmm. It is again, I go back to what I said earlier, the abuses of the system is what will cause us to harden our heart, and we have to be careful to not have a hardened heart and become cynical, but it's hard not to when you see the excessive abuses that seem to take place. I don't think that those social nets were ever intended to be lifelong ways of income. They were really, in my mind, they were created for times of emergency to get you back on your feet, get you 6 months or a year while you recover from the catastrophic loss you may have experienced. And then, but when they're being viewed as really a way of life, and that's not the healthy view at all.
Right. No, it has. And there's a lady, I saw her on Twitter yesterday. Let me play this for you and get your thoughts. She's basically making the point that people on any sort of government assistance, their votes are compromised. So take a listen to this and share your thoughts.
The left is so funny. Workers who don't work, students who don't study, educators who don't educate, and politicians who cannot lead, so they buy votes instead. But somehow they figured it out. They create dependence and call it compassion. They create victims and call it justice. Create laziness and call it equality. And a bunch of dumb people fall for that. Yesterday, I made a video about how crazy it is that more than 40 million people here in America are relying on food stamps to get their basic groceries. And then as I did more research, I found out that in Brazil, my home country, we have more than 94 million people receiving some sort of benefit from the government. That's almost half of the country. And this scares me, really. because I know how things work in Brazil, and I know votes are completely bought. These people are going to vote for the ones who keep their checks coming in. And I feel like the same thing is happening now here in America. And now I'm going to say something that is controversial, but shouldn't be. I don't think these people should vote. Honestly, how can you vote freely when you're being bought? Welfare was supposed to be temporary help, but it's become a lifestyle. Worse than that, it's become a political strategy, and that is not compassion. That's control disguised as kindness.
Wow, who is that? I think I saw that written out the other day, but I didn't hear the video. But with her last statement, compassion, which really is control.
Yes. Well, it's control disguised as compassion.
Wow.
Yeah. So, and I know Matt Walsh has been really going off on this too, as well. All right, we have a call coming in. Let's go ahead and take that. Good morning, you're on Talkback.
Good morning, gentlemen. How are y'all this morning?
Good morning. How are you?
Doing good. Great topic, by the way. The system is broken, but we go back to the same thing. It goes back to the home. Some of us were raised to go out, earn a paycheck, pay your way, do your thing. And society has been set up to where, hey, if you have this many kids or you live this type of lifestyle, you can get things for free. And the lady hit the nail on the head. It was never meant to be a lifestyle or a way to make or have your groceries bought. It was supposed to be a stopgap opportunity for people that needed help during a hard time to fill that gap in, and until they got a job or had other means of income, and then they would pick it back up. Right. But it has become a strong political position because Democrats and Republicans both use this for some way or another to manipulate their political views.
Yeah. No, I think that's it. Go ahead.
She's right, though. I didn't see that. I haven't heard that. Thank you for sharing that online, by the way. But that lady was extremely, extremely accurate in what she said. It used to be something for compassion, and now it's turned into a political thing, just like the border is, just like other things. It's about having votes. It's about having people in here to guarantee their continued existence in government. And I'm for term limits. I'm for all of that. I think it's time that we need to assess our political system as a whole, especially when it comes to term limits and how long people could be sitting in their districts.
Yes, sir. Well, thank you for the call this morning. We appreciate it.
Thank you, gentlemen. Y'all have a great weekend. Thank you for all you do.
Yes, sir. Thank you. We'll come back with more.
This is a Bloomberg Money Minute. Apple and Amazon report earnings today, but we heard from a trio of the big tech firms late yesterday, and the massive amount of AI spending is testing Wall Street's resolve. Alphabet, Meta Platforms, and Microsoft together racked up some $78 billion in capital expenditures last quarter, up 89% from a year earlier. All three companies upped their forecast for future spending. They're not the most attractive footwear, but they sure are selling. Shares in Crocs surged on better than expected revenue. The company said it made more than $996 million, better than expected, thanks to reduced discounts and an expansion beyond its famous clogs. Overall, though, Crocs is down nearly 23% for the year. And Starbucks broke out of its slump in the latest quarter, a sign that CEO Brian Niccol's turnaround plan is taking hold. Its key sale metric rose 1% following 6 straight quarterly declines. Shares rose at first in late trading yesterday after the results were released, but then they slipped after Niccol detailed the company's Back to Starbucks plan. Erica Herskowitz, Bloomberg Radio.
This is Dr. Jonathan Hunter with the clinics. We provide primary, family, and chronic care along with gastroenterology, podiatry, with on-site lab and x-ray services. I'm pleased to welcome family physician Dr. Noah Miller to our team. We are currently accepting new patients and same-day appointments are available. If you're admitted into the hospital, our doctors will see you there as well. Most insurance and Medicare are accepted. The clinic's on North Dalton, 445-9823, and online at theclinics.us.
Progressive presents Employee of the Month. Small Business Edition. Today's recipient from Lucky Larry's Landscaping, Larry! Larry saved his business money with a quick commercial auto quote from Progressive. Does it help he's his own marketing manager, accountant, executive assistant, and never been late? Technically, yes, but saving really put him over the edge. So, Larry, give Larry a round of applause. Be Be your own Larry. See if you could save in as little as 8 minutes at ProgressiveCommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
It's Cybersecurity Awareness Month, and LifeLock is here with tips to help protect your identity. Use strong passwords, set up multi-factor authentication on your accounts, report phishing, and update your software on all your devices. And for comprehensive identity protection, LifeLock is your best choice. LifeLock not only alerts you to suspicious uses of your personal information, but also fixes identity theft, guaranteed, or your money back. So stay smart, stay safe, and stay protected with a 30-day free trial at LifeLock.com. Use the promo code BECK. Terms do apply.
Good morning. Looks like a nice Thursday with mainly sunny skies today. Nowhere near as windy as it was yesterday. Afternoon highs only, though, near 66 degrees. And we'll see winds out of the northwest at only about 5 to 10. Tonight, clear skies. Some spots maybe even the upper 30s overnight tonight. Otherwise, around 40 for most folks. Tomorrow, sunny skies again, 69 for the afternoon high. From the Cenla Broadcasting Weather Center, I'm Dave Grayson.
970 AM, 104.9 FM, KSYO. To take part in the show, call 442-8255. That's 442-TALK. Talk back.
All right, Alan Nathan with you here on a Thursday. Stephen will be back tomorrow. 318-442-8255 is our phone numbers. I know you mentioned this to me earlier in the show. Last night, Turning Point USA had an event at the Ole Miss campus. That's Mississippi University, or is it the University of Mississippi?
University of Mississippi.
All right. And the featured speaker was Erica Kirk, Charlie Kirk's widow, but also J.D. Vance.
Exactly, yeah.
Who is the vice president of the country. And a couple of things about Vance I thought were interesting. One, the fact that he took questions from people. I mean, I can't remember or think of any time in the past of having an incident where a politician goes to some sort of huge public event like that and actually takes questions from people. Can you think of one?
I mean, no, I cannot. Not on that level. I've seen on a state level, even statewide level at certain events, but that on that national level, never. J.D. Vance has... I didn't think he was that great of a choice when he was first picked, but he has come out with some strength.
Yeah.
And I think it was at the event last night. They have a great quote of him talking about his faith and how he and his wife.
Hang on. I got that queued up.
Oh, it's such a great quote.
Yeah. So now I noticed that their audio wasn't the greatest. So hopefully you can hear this. If it's not good audio, I'll come back. But yeah, he was asked about how he's raising his children.
Mm-hmm.
And what I didn't understand that apparently his wife is agnostic. She's not even a Christian at all.
Well, she's Hindu, was her upbringing.
Okay. So check this out.
Yes, my wife did not grow up Christian. I think it's fair to say that she grew up in a Hindu family, but not a particularly religious family in either direction. In fact, when I met my wife, we were both, I would consider myself an agnostic or an atheist, and that's what I think she would have considered herself as well. You know, everybody has to come to their own arrangement here. The way that we've come to our arrangement is she's my best friend. We talk to each other about this stuff. So we decided to raise our kids Christian. Our two oldest kids who go to school, they go to a Christian school. Our 8-year-old did his first communion about a year ago. That's the way that we have come to our arrangement. But thank you. My 8-year-old was also very proud of his first communion. Thank you, guys. I'll tell him that Ole Miss wishes him the best. But I think everybody has to have this own conversation when you're in a marriage. I mean, it's true for friends of mine who are in Protestant and Catholic marriages, friends of mine who are in, atheist and Christian marriages. You just got to talk to the only advice I can give is you just got to talk to the person that God has put you with, and you've got to make those decisions as a family unit. For us, it works out. Now, most Sundays, Usha will come with me to church. As I've told her, and I've said publicly, and I'll say now in front of 10,000 of my closest friends, do I hope eventually that she is somehow moved by the same thing that I was moved in by church? Yeah, I honestly do wish that, because I believe in the Christian gospel, and I hope eventually my wife comes to see it the same way. But if she doesn't, then God says everybody has free will, and so that doesn't cause a problem for me. That's something you work out with your friends, with your family, with the person that you love. Again, one of the most important Christian principles is that you respect free will. Usha's closer to the priest who baptized me than maybe I am. They talk about this stuff. My attitude is you figure this stuff out as a family and you trust in God to have a plan and you try to follow it as best as you can. And that's what I try to do.
All right. Again, that was Vice President J.D. Vance.
That was stirring and honest.
Yeah.
And a peek into the living room of America's Second Family that I think it was just wholesome and uplifting. Right. And the kind of discourse we need to be having.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And it comes the week after, who was it? Somebody had said something about him and his wife's relationship. It was somebody more on the left. And
they were saying, hey, if you need help, blink. And on The View, somebody were making comments like, we want to save you, basically.
Right. And his comeback to that was really good as well. He is so good on his feet at talking. He's an excellent debater. He reasons things out. He's going to be definitely a formidable candidate for president in 2028.
Yeah.
They're already talking about him and Rubio as the ticket. And we'll see. A lot can change between now and then. That's basically 3.5 years away. Probably 2.5 in terms of when a campaign would really start up. But I agree with you. I just think that was a very honest and transparent moment that I was shocked that he would basically say, my wife isn't a Christian. She just comes with me to church, and I'm hoping that she will become one. Wow.
Because I believe in the Christian gospel, and I want her to, but she has free will, God.
Yeah.
I mean, how honest. It was Jen Psaki who made the comment that, blink 4 times if you need to be saved.
That's right. It was. Yeah.
And, but J.D. Vance shut her down pretty much. You could tell none of that was scripted. All that he just said there was just from the heart.
Yeah.
And it really elevated my own view of him, his ability, I think, to carry on the Charlie Kirk philosophy of conversation, where you can look somebody in the eye without animus and speak a truth.
Yeah.
Without emotion attached to it. We've lost that.
I think they said there were 15,000 people at that event yesterday, and it represented more than half of the student body.
Amazing.
Which is pretty incredible.
Amazing.
Yeah, and it shows, I think Charlie Kirk's impact still is something that's under the radar for all of the conventional media. They have no idea what's going on and don't understand what's happening with a lot of young people in the country who had just reached a point where they've seen the culture that was given to them and they've said, this sucks. We don't like this.
Yeah.
We want something better. We want something meaningful. We don't want something shallow and empty and vain. We want something deeper. They weren't even finding it in church, to be honest, with a lot of what's going on in the religious world of America today. But they found it in this one guy. And with Kirk, he pointed them to what the source of that is. And you're seeing people that are still hungry for that. So it'll be interesting to see what the long-term impact of his death and his life end up being.
Well, and the studies I'm seeing, the young, I'm not sure whether to call them millennial or I lose track of what the
Gen Z,
what the labels are, but these, I would say 20-year-olds.
Right.
So whatever they are.
Yeah.
The hunger they have, this is the generation who went through COVID. They, 9/11 was history to them.
Yeah, you're right.
It means nothing.
No, I realize that.
It is to them what maybe the Vietnam War was to me, or maybe the Korean War was to me. It was Korean War was before I was born.
Yep.
And so to them, things that shaped us are history to them, but COVID is real and nihilism is real and the self-centeredness is real and it's empty and it fulfills nothing. And there's and that's why there's actually been a big turn even to the Catholic Church, the institutions that hold weight.
Right.
And it's a great moment to try to capture and as Vance said, to the Christian gospel. I think it's a great opportunity to try to capture that.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Well, we need to capture this commercial break and then we'll come back with more.
KSYL.
Dentures. You can't live with them, and you definitely can't live without them. But what if we told you there's a better way? Today's Dental in Pineville is here to revolutionize your smile. Say goodbye to old-fashioned adhesives and endless appointments. They've made getting implants incredibly simple, low anxiety, and affordable for everyone. Picture this. In-office IV sedation administered by a highly skilled, certified nurse anesthetist, making the procedure low anxiety and stress-free. And the best part? Their multiple finance options make implants truly affordable. Don't wait. If you're ready to replace those old-timey dentures with permanent implants, call Today's Dental on Highway 28 East in Pineville at 448-4540. It's a general dental facility owned by Dr. Jonas Gauthier. That's 448-4540. Your perfect smile is just a call away. Today's Dental, because you deserve the best.
It's Talkback, 970 AM, 104.9 FM, KSYO.
All right, we're back here on Talkback on your Thursday morning. Al Quartermont along with Nathan Martin. Just dropping stuff all over the place.
I'll break it. You know, the guy comes in, just no respect. That's what, it's part-time help you get over here.
All right, another story that happened yesterday, kind of went glossed over. The House Oversight Committee had a hearing, and they were looking into some of what took place in the Biden years, and they are deeming all of President Biden's executive actions null and void. And that would include his pardons. They say were performed by the White House staff and signed by an auto pen. And the committee is demanding an immediate investigation by the Attorney General, Pam Bondi. They're, quote, "We're calling on the U.S. Department of Justice to conduct a thorough review of these executive actions and scrutinize key Biden aides who took the fifth to hide their participation in the cover-up. The D.C. Board of Medicine must also review the actions taken by the president's physician to hide his true condition. We have provided Americans with transparency about the Biden auto pen presidency, and now there must be accountability." That was Representative Comer who said that. We'll see if it actually goes anywhere. You know how these things go. But the fact that they're saying all of his executive actions were signed by auto pen is staggering.
Well, and what I heard on one of the news stories this morning, I listened to a couple of different news podcasts on the way in, and one of them was talking about how there's zero email trails or evidence of any communication with him to authorize the usage. And so, it'd be one thing if they said, hey, here's some things we want you to do. And he said, yeah, they look good. And he's, hit send. No question. I don't have any problem with that. But somebody else was making those decisions, it appears, and Attorney General Pam Bondi is actually going to lead that investigation.
Yeah, and I know Josh Hawley yesterday afterwards was noting how a lot of people made money off of the executive orders that he signed, and he's saying that the influence came from basically a cabal of donors and insiders, and that the DOJ needs to go after the money and see who is benefiting from this. So again, will they actually do that? I don't know. My gut feeling is nothing will come of it because nothing ever really does, but it's pretty astonishing.
And off topic, but a similar person who was in there, Mike Johnson, House Speaker Mike Johnson from Northwest Louisiana, said that this is an unprecedented situation. He says no previous president had an auto pen or the audacity to have things signed when they didn't even know what was in it. So I do know that auto pens have been used. Look, if you're signing as many cards and that kind of stuff, it can definitely has been used. Now to sign legislation, that's another issue there. By the way, Mike Johnson was pretty clear on the third Trump term. Let me get the words out. Possibility. Trump has floated it out a couple of times that, my poll numbers are great and I don't know why not. And then I think Steve Bannon was like, yeah, he will be president in 28. And then Johnson's like, no, that's not going to happen. And then Trump himself was like, no, it doesn't look like there's a way. If there's a way, I'd love to do it, but it doesn't look like there's a way. But Vance and Rubio sure would make a good team. So he's already starting to put his plug in there.
Right.
I think he just likes to troll people out.
Oh, no doubt about it.
He will say stuff to get people upset, and he's just laughing, because while they're laughing at what his right hand did, his left hand is over here doing something else.
Meanwhile, he's had a very important trip to the Far East. The progress that they've made with South Korea regarding trade agreements, reducing some of the tariffs, and then today, I guess, earlier today, meeting with Xi, the president of China, and things seem to be okay there. But what also came out of the day was the president is directing the Pentagon essentially to begin looking at starting up nuclear testing again. And that's raised some eyebrows like, ooh, what's going on?
Some saber rattling going on from a man who says he doesn't like wars, but when Putin and his crew, run some nuclear tests while he's in China, not far from him, there's a message being sent, and Trump is not one to back down from a fight.
Yeah, no question.
He will not be bullied.
And I think what you see with Trump is, even though he hates war, he understands that the best way to prevent war is for you to be the biggest strength in the room.
Right.
That nobody would want to mess with.
Teddy Roosevelt's talk quietly and carry a big stick. His is talk loudly and carry a bigger stick.
That's really a good way of saying it, too. Crazy.
Stephen would love that one. He's a big Teddy Roosevelt fan.
Oh, yeah. Yes, he is. And a big Trump? No, just kidding.
His ears are burning right now.
Yeah. It's like mine are always burning when you guys are talking about how I get here at the last second.
Oh, do we talk about that?
I hear it once in a while.
You know what's good? What's funny about that is who was late today? This guy right here.
I was actually shocked.
You were shocked or you were not?
That you were late? Yeah, I was shocked.
Yeah.
You're always like way early.
I try to get here in time to get things set up. I even told, when Steve messaged me, I was asking about that third computer we're now using for the third camera, because I wanted to, and I told him, I said, when I can, I'll even have Al's computer set up with the camera. If I can, I want to do what I can to be a blessing, to be a help. And then today I'm like, 10, 15 minutes late. Golly.
It's all good.
I'll eat a little crow on air. It's fine. Add me some, pass the salt, please.
There's something else y'all mentioned me about the other day. I'm trying to remember what it was. Oh, you said that I like the headphones loud. Normally, when I come in on Wednesday, you have them up louder than I like.
Really?
So unless, maybe there's another person that's coming in here between the times where I'm here and then you, and then you, then me.
Well, I know it gets used by other people. The studio is used for other stuff.
So I usually have to turn it down when I come in.
Well, I have to turn it down too, so maybe they're coming in between both of us. Who knows?
Possibly. All right, time for our
At least we both know that we both listen to each other.
That's right. We do.
We are both fans of this show.
We're supportive of whoever's doing this show.
That's right.
All right, more after this.
Talkback is sponsored by The Clinics.
Have a Class A or B CDL? Want to drive a local route every day? If you said yes, then you're who we're looking for. Waste Connections of Alexandria, Natchitoches, and Lafayette is hiring drivers with CDL license. You'll get competitive wages, paid vacations, a company stock program, a 401k with company match, medical, dental, vision, life, and disability insurance, and a local route with you at home with your family every night. Apply now at wasteconnections.com/employment. That's wasteconnections.com.
Trying to quit tobacco yourself is like playing catch alone. I got it. I don't got it. Or dancing the tango by yourself. 2, 3. Or doing the wave in an empty stadium. When you're ready to quit tobacco, don't do it by yourself. Quit With Us Louisiana offers free quit resources to all Louisiana residents age 13 and older. Visit quitwithusla.org. Text READY to 34191 or call 1-800-QUIT-NOW today.
970 AM, 104.9 FM, KSYO. To take part in the show, call 442-8255. That's 442-TALK. Talk back.
All right, we are back. Last segment of the morning, and tomorrow it's Halloween.
Stephen has a couple of really good stories on his Sinlaw Broadcasting, Sinlaw Updates deal about something going on in DeVille, a haunted house out there, and I'm not into haunted houses. I'll be honest. I'll tell you straight up front. I don't do scary.
Yeah, I don't like either. I don't like gore type movies. I just don't like seeing movies where human suffering is portrayed. That's just not my jam.
Did you watch Stephen's update? Did you watch that segment? It's gory. It's gory. It's got. I mean, they're doing good. If people like that, they need to go out there to on Big Island Loop in DeVille and pay their $5 and get scared. I say the world is scary enough. I'm not going to be paid to be scared. I'm just not going to give money to be scared.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Speaking of Halloween, can I segue into something?
You may.
A point of personal privilege. You guys were talking the other night about harvest festivals and trunk or treats and all that stuff. So I know you're going to laugh at me, but for probably 30 years now or so, our church has had an event on October 31st that we call Hallelujah Night. Yeah, it's corny, but it's our alternative.
Hallelujah Night.
Hallelujah Night. It's a costume-free event. We do for those who just prefer not to participate in it. And the kids will get their bags of candy, and we'll have carnival games, and we're gonna have a cakewalk and a chili cook-off, and just some good, clean fun for those who prefer not to participate in what's going on. And look, there's no shade on those who do, but some just prefer not to. They don't want to be at home, have their doors knocked on. And so for many years, we've just chosen to do our own little alternative that we call Hallelujah Night. So it's at 6 to 8 at Christian Challenge.
Tomorrow night.
Tomorrow night.
All right.
Yep.
Will there be candy?
Yes, there will be candy.
Okay.
That one was decided pretty early on because used to be you'd go to school the next day and you'd bring, samples of what you picked up. And, so parents are like, well, our kids need to have candy at least to say they got some. So I guess we have that concession to.
All right. There you go. Well, we got another call coming in. Good morning. You're on Talkback.
Yeah, a while ago, y'all were talking about welfare, and I was listening to a clip last night on Mandami, that candidate for mayor in New York City, and he was speaking to people, and he said, he promised them free buses, and they cheered and hollered, and then he said, we're going to either have free or cheap food, and they hollered and clapped again, and said, we're going to freeze rents. Well, to me, now again, I've got two preachers behind the mics this morning. There's a passage in the Bible. There's something about people having itching ears. In other words, they want to hear something, and maybe it's not good for them, or maybe it is, but they just want to hear something good no matter what. Is that about what's going on, you think?
Yeah, that's a good comparison, I would say. Yeah, interesting comparison.
Well, anyway, he can't do what he's promising, but I guess they'll find out the hard way if he's elected. I hope Curtis Sliwa gets in there. It's a slim chance, but he could.
That's the way a lot of these socialists work, though. They promise the moon, and then when they get in, it's a lot of human misery.
Yeah, well, I thought that's what the itching ears were talking about.
Yep.
Want to hear something good.
Tickling their ears. Yep. Tell people what they want to hear rather than what they need to hear.
Right. Okay.
A lot of successful preachers out there do that. I will tell you. Successful in a worldly sense.
Yeah.
They'll give an account one day.
Yesterday on the radio, don't remember if it was the Hannity Hour or somebody else, there were some folks, they're almost giving in to saying that Mandami's going to win.
Yeah.
And they're saying that it actually may be a good thing because he'll fail and it'll show and reveal how horrible those policies are, or he'll be so incompetent and not be able to lead. But did you sense a sense of resignation to that?
I kind of do. Yeah. Yeah.
I even saw a guy wearing a MAGA for Mandami shirt the other day because he wants him to fail.
I saw a video clip. It was all women. It was female Jewish rabbis for Mandami.
What? You've got to.
The video is so cringe. I'll see if I can find it.
Oh, no.
So cringe. So cringe.
Wow.
All right. Before we go, Scott McKay from the Hayride weighing in on what the governor did yesterday. He's got a different perspective, and it's one I hadn't heard before, so interesting. He says, y'all are going to say, we're going to say, but you should understand a couple of things. First, the AD, he's talking about Scott Woodward, has been playing big-time politics in an effort to sabotage the governor's choice for LSU's next president, which will happen next week.
Oh?
And second, a certain agent has been more or less openly lobbying members of the Board of Supervisors in an effort to drum up demand for a certain coach to get a contract that's even more obscene than the one Kelly got. And without a president in place, there's nothing to counterbalance that. So before you wet your pants about all the news that was made this afternoon, might consider these things happening behind the scenes, which may have brought that about.
Wow.
Okay, even if that's so, I just don't think it's prudent for the governor to take that into that forum and make that kind of announcement, because I think it has greater repercussions. If that's going on behind the scenes, deal with it, but I don't know. So I've said what I said.
There's something going on. That's wild.
Yeah. Isn't there always, though? Especially with Louisiana politics.
Yeah. It's like the whole, let's change up all the districts so we can get rid of Garrett Graves. Oh, now we shouldn't have changed the districts.
Yeah.
Now that we got rid of Garrett Graves.
100%. That's exactly what it was about. At the end of the day, we know that was what it was about. And now we're trying to act like we didn't do it. Like we were forced to do it. Right. And I think that's what Moon's issue has been. At the end of the day, you weren't really forced to do this as much as you were saying. You did this because the opportunity was there. And now that it's coming back where it actually might play out to your benefit, you're trying to take the credit for that too. Can't have it both ways, but they're trying to make it both ways. Thus is the world of politics.
And the gales of November
come early. That's right.
I did listen.
On the big lake they call Gitchagumi.
Hey, man, thanks for letting me sit in with you today.
Yeah, enjoyed it.
Steve, I look forward to listening to you two guys tomorrow.
All right. We'll be with you bright and early tomorrow morning, 7:20. Look forward to talking with you. Have a great day, everyone.
You've been listening to Talkback. The opinions expressed were those of the hosts and callers, and not necessarily those of Cenlaw Broadcasting.
AM 970, FM 104.9, KSYL, and KRRV 100.3, HD3, Alexandria.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by Progressive Insurance.
I'm Deborah Rodriguez. The U.S. Treasury Secretary says it's a done deal. China's agreed to purchase 25 million metric tons of American soybeans a year as part of an agreement President Trump reached with Xi Jinping yesterday. The president says the Chinese leader also agreed to export more rare earth minerals in exchange for lower U.S. tariffs. Mr. Trump also directed a resumption of nuclear testing. Correspondent Ed O'Keefe at the White House.
The president said in a social media post that he wants to resume those tests on a, quote, equal basis with Russia and China. That would be a major shift since the U.S. hasn't carried out such tests since the early 1990s. The president offered no details about the timing of the specific tests by other countries he was referring to.
Hamas armed wing announced this morning it would hand over the bodies of 2 more hostages this hour, as per terms of the U.S. brokered ceasefire in Gaza. So far, the remains of 15 of 28 bodies have been returned to Israel. They're just beginning to assess the damage in the Northern Caribbean after Hurricane Melissa devastated several islands. CBS's Jason Allen is in Kingston, Jamaica.
This morning, the people of Jamaica are picking up the pieces after Hurricane Melissa, as nearly 80% of the island nation still doesn't have power.
Roof has gone, clothes has wet up. I need some help. Please, I need some help.
Melissa, now a Category 2 storm swirling in the Atlantic. CBS meteorologist Rob Marciano.
Now it's pulling out of the Bahamas. Thankfully, it's in the open ocean for now, but it's going to be making a run at Bermuda. It's about 680 miles from there, and it's accelerating to the northeast now at about 21 miles per hour. And by later on tonight, it'll be just to the west of Bermuda.
A shakeup in the prosecution of a man who got a January 6th pardon. CBS's Steve Kathan.
2 federal prosecutors have been told they will be placed on leave after requesting a 27-month prison sentence for a man granted clemency for the Capitol attack and who later turned up armed near the house of former President Obama. Those prosecutors said Taylor Taranto had been among the, quote, mob of rioters. That's now been removed from shorter, refiled sentencing papers. 2 different prosecutors are now listed on the filing.
Prosecutors in Paris say they've arrested 5 more suspects in the crown jewel heist at the Louvre Museum. That makes a total of 7 in custody. Christopher Marinello at Art Recovery International.
This is phenomenal police work on behalf of the French authorities. The only question is whether they have caught these people in time.
Still no sign of those jewels. The Dow is up 202 points in early trading. Nas off 148. This is CBS News.
Sponsored by Progressive Insurance. Take the next step forward in your career with great benefits and an award-winning workplace. Apply at careers.progressive.com.
Maybe this is you too. People are enormously frustrated with the cost of healthcare right now. There is an option. Hundreds of thousands of people have gone with MediShare. They like it more and they're saving a lot of money. Perfect time for you to join too. Apply before October 31st and they will waive your application fee. That's $100 you'll be saving right off the bat, in addition to the thousands you can save every year. Call them now. Here's the number, 877-26-BIBLE. That's 877-26-BIBLE. Medishare is a community of Christians who've shared more than $9 billion in medical bills. It has worked beautifully for decades. And with so many people re-examining their options right now, seeing premiums going up and up,